At this time, we'll open up the regular meeting of the Garden Grove City Council. Ms. Baylor, could you please call roll?
Councilmember Beard?
Here.
Councilmember Jones?
Here.
Councilmember Fawn?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nguyen?
Here.
Mayor Broadwater?
Here. Okay, at this time, we'll have an invocation by Susan Emery, and we will have the flag salute after that by Councilwoman Nguyen.
Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen. Please place a flag and say the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's my understanding we have some presentations.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like Susan Emery to make the first presentation this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, the Garden Grove City Council is proud to present the Business Spotlight, highlighting the accomplishments of local business professionals. This evening's recognition goes to one of the leading businesses in the community, celebrating its milestone 50th year in Garden Grove. Would Keith and Joshua Breeze please come forward? Breeze Meats has been a fixture in the Garden Grove community since 1963. The small and successful butcher shop is family-owned and operated. Owner Keith Breeze is the third generation to own Breeze Meats. His son Joshua will be the fourth. Their belief in providing delicious, fresh, quality meat has made them a trusted establishment throughout the years. They are regarded as real craftsmen in the meat market industry, a cut above the rest. Located in the Valley View Shopping Plaza, Breeze Meats has been able to sustain the feeling of an old-fashioned butcher shop, a feeling customers highly enjoy. They carry an array of choices from their wall-to-wall glass casing of meat to their handmade sausages and their boar's head gourmet sandwiches. Breeze Meat is an exceptional, old-fashioned butcher shop who is proud to call Garden Grove their home. In honoring Breeze Meats, the Mayor and City Council would like to present Keith and Joshua with a commemorative gift and congratulate them for their milestone achievement. The City of Garden Grove salutes Breeze Meats as an industry leader and looks forward to many more years of success in the community. Thank you.
We have a little gift for you here. It's really nice, and we certainly hope that you display that with honor. Thank you for doing such a fantastic job in Garden Grove. Thank you. And I think she said you were a chop above the others, but if you'd like to say a few words, certainly. Thank you. Here, get the rest of it.
Oh,
Wait,
could we take your picture?
Quick photo op.
Ready?
One more. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Where to begin? Thank you guys for all your recognition. We really aim to please the society and have this is probably one of the biggest things that has ever happened to Breeze's Meats. I'm very proud to present. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to serve the community as much as possible. Thanks for giving my family the opportunity to be here for this presentation. Hopefully many more years. I'm just recently engaged, so I got to work on generations to come, So hopefully for another 50 years of business, and, then we won't leave this community as long as you guys will have us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have a second presentation.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's an update on the Santa Ana Garden Grove Fixed Guideway project, and Raul Godinez from he's Public Works Director with the City of Santa Ana, is here to give a presentation to the council this evening.
Good evening, Mayor Broadwater and members of the City Council. My name is Raul Godinez, Director of Public Works for Santa Ana, and I'm here just to introduce this presentation. Our cities have been working on pursuing a transit option since slightly before 2007, when OCTA allocated $100,000 for each city in Orange County to come up with concepts that could best provide last-mile connectivity for Metrolink. In 2008, OCTA allocated the Santa Ana Garden Grove project $5.9 million to pursue what is called Step 2 conceptual engineering and environmental analysis activities. We're here to present the project update because two major project milestones will be reached within the next 90 to 120 days, and they are the completion of the environmental documentation process and the selection of the locally preferred alternative. Here to present an update on our fixed category project is our consultant project manager, Cindy Krebs.
Good evening. Glad to be with you all tonight. It's been a while since we've had a chance to talk with the City Council here in Garden Grove about the project and provide an update. We've been fortunate to be able to continue good communications with your staff through your city manager and your directors, and Councilmember Jones recently at OCTA. But real pleasure to be here to bring the rest of you up to speed on this project. As Raul indicated, this was started several years ago. The genesis for it was the new Measure M provided some funding for transit connections to the regional Metrolink rail system in Orange County. Santa Ana has a train station. Garden Grove does not, but you're an important neighbor. And we saw immediately that a connection between our two cities could be beneficial to both of our cities. So we've been working on that for a while now. The study area, which is do you have, yeah, you do, perfect, okay. The study area is in front of you just now. The slide shows that the boundaries for it are Westminster, 17th Street on the north, 1st Street on the south in Santa Ana, Harbor Boulevard on the west, and Grand Avenue on to the east in Santa Ana. Harbor Boulevard is the most heavily traveled transit corridor in Orange County. It's also a very important transportation corridor and an important economic artery in the county as well. So having the system go there, we believe, is very important. We are focused on several different alternatives. If you can go to the next slide, we'll talk about the purpose and need for the project. This is really the goals. We want to improve transit access and mobility in the central part of Orange County. A focus on cost effectiveness is very important. Reducing automobile trips, as you all know, also can lead to improved air quality, so that those are goals as well. Supporting economic vitality and job growth is probably one of the biggest goals for the two cities, and we believe that we have a proposal that will do that. We also want to encourage more pedestrian and bicycle activity, be sensitive to the character of our communities, and support plans for transit-oriented development. We already have some of that occurring in Santa Ana near our train station. It started several years ago. It's continuing to make its way along the corridor. There are opportunities for that in Garden Grove as well, perhaps at the Willow Wick site, perhaps in other areas of the city. Next slide, please. As far as the study area's kind of vital statistics are concerned, we have a very high population density in this area with almost 18,000 people per square mile. That rivals large cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York. People don't get that, they don't see it, but it's here. We've got a lot of people to serve in the county. We also have significant employment. In Santa Ana and in the study area, we have a number of cars with no households with no car at all. Almost 18% of the people who live in our city, Santa Ana, do not have a vehicle available to them. That means a large amount of them, almost 14%, use transit on a daily basis. As I said, we're looking at a couple of different alternatives. I'll talk about those in just a minute, but the figures here that talk about TSM, that's basically a bus system. That's one of the things that we've studied. We anticipate about 3,000 daily boardings on that. And if we go with streetcar, which is another alternative, a minimum of around 3,700 and potentially higher than that. Again, we'd reduce vehicle trips. That would have a positive impact on congestion on the roadways and air quality as well. Another important thing, especially in the economy that we're all struggling and succeeding now, I think, to see improve, is we would create jobs, construction jobs, as the system is built. Next slide, please. At the very beginning of the study process, back in 2010, we had a series of public open houses and meetings, and we talked with the community. We had them in both Santa Ana and Garden Grove. We talked with the community about the types of systems that we could consider, ruled a whole bunch of things out, things that were expensive, things that were elevated, things that moved too fast, were too loud, were eliminated. So right from the start, we didn't consider any of those, but we did look at a no-build, a TSM, again, which is bus, 2 BRT. BRT is bus rapid transit, and basically that's a bus that can carry a lot of people and move very quickly, and then 3 streetcar systems. After talking with the community, we narrowed down to 4 that were carried through the environmental analysis phase, and I'll talk about each one of those now. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The first one is the Transportation Systems Management Alternative. What this does is provides enhanced transit connections service on several existing routes. OCTA's Route 64, the 462 service that goes from our train station in Santa Ana and circulates throughout the downtown and Civic Center area. We'd look at increasing headways or providing more frequent service on both of those. But we're also proposing a new line of service going from the train station basically along Santa Ana Boulevard, up Flower Street, past Santa Ana College, and then all the way over to the corner again of Harbor and Westminster. So that's one of the alternatives that's fully evaluated in the study. The other 2 are streetcar alternatives. They're both depicted here. Again, all of these start at the train station and then provide this connection through our 2 cities. The streetcar systems are the same from Flower Street all the way over to Harbor, Westminster, and they would use the PE right-of-way, that old abandoned railway corridor. That was purchased by OCTA about 23, 24 years ago now with the first Measure M, and preserved as a transit corridor, a future transportation corridor. So we would be looking at using that and restoring service, train service there. The old PE railway used to operate through there. And then in the downtown Civic Center area of Santa Ana, we have 2 options that we evaluated, partly so that the people who have businesses in that area, the people who come to visit, and the people who live there could evaluate which would be the most beneficial, least impactful from their point of view. So we'll be seeking public input on that as we move forward. Next slide, please. One of the real wins here in our planning is what we could do in the future with a connection. As you probably know, Anaheim is studying a streetcar system as well through its resort area over to the stadium area. It would terminate at Harbor Boulevard, as would the system that we're collectively studying. One of the things that's been really exciting as this idea has germinated and started to grow and everything like that is the possibility of creating a future connection down Harbor Boulevard, which serves your corridor there, your key corridor for entertainment and a key economic corridor for you as well. So these 2 projects that are under evaluation right now in Anaheim and Santa Ana could lead to the possibility to create regional connection through Garden Grove, and then all of them connecting to Metrolink so that we have a really good transit circulation system here in the center of Orange County.
Would it be 2 different types of technology?
No, as a matter of fact, one of the things that OCTA has been very good in leading us all on is making sure that we have a common technology so that the connection would make sense in the future. We can use the same vehicles. A rider could get on in Anaheim, for instance, and come into Garden Grove all the way into Santa Ana on the same vehicle and wouldn't have to change modes. Anytime people have to change modes, it makes the trip a little less attractive to them. So we're looking at one system. Next slide, please. In terms of the costs, these types of improvements do carry significant price tags, but they have significant benefits as well. The bus alternative would be about $14 million on the capital side. That includes some improvements to signals, to create a better way of communicating to bus patrons, and to purchase additional vehicles. The annual operations and maintenance would be significant as well for that. We've looked at the possibility of having bus go only between Sardic and Harbor Boulevard and not include all of those other connections and separate out the cost for that, because that's really the new component of this. That's only $5 million. The two streetcar alternatives range from just over $200 to about $230 million each on the capital side, and would be between $5 and $6 million approximately for an annual operations and maintenance. And then the last two lines in here talk about an initial operating segment. If we were funding constrained and we could only build a little bit as a starter, OCTA asked us to evaluate what that might look like. Again, we have to start at this train station in Santa Ana. We could bring the system all the way to rate for less money. One of the things, though, that we're hoping to build the whole system all the way, connect all the way to Garden Grove, and we really have found through our studies that the further west we bring it, the more riders that we pick up. So for an incrementally fairly small cost, we pick up a lot of ridership, and we see a benefit to doing that. So we're hoping that there'll be enough funding to build the whole system. Next slide, please. As far as project delivery, well, when could we expect to see something on the ground and providing service in our communities? If we continue at the pace that we've been going and we can go into our preliminary engineering, final engineering construction within the next 3 or so years, we could have a system up and operating toward the end of 2017. So it's not too far in the future. Next slide. We have been, since fall of last year, engaged in a fairly significant community outreach campaign in both of our communities. We have been hosting updates one-on-one and with small groups. We've gone out to schools and churches, to businesses in the two cities, to service organizations and neighborhood associations. We plan to have more of those meetings, and we invite anybody at any time to invite us to come and present to them. One of the things that we think is very effective is, instead of asking people to come to us, to make ourselves available to go to them. Another thing that we've done is, within the downtown and civic center area, had some focused outreach that includes tours. Again, something that's available to the people in your community, where we start at the train station in Santa Ana, drive the whole length of the route, explain everything, where the system would run, where the stops would be, answer as many questions as we can about it, how frequently does it travel, what are the hours of operation, all those types of things are part of the information we provide. And again, general public, property owners, our local merchants have all been included in that. We also did a door-to-door outreach throughout our downtown to touch bases with all the people there, to make sure they knew about the project, the proposals, to make sure that they knew that we'd be out in the street soon with an environmental document, and to ask them to start formulating opinions about which of those two downtown options was most attractive to them. And we have been providing information in both English and Spanish. Next slide, please. So, within the next 90 to 120 days, here's what we hope will happen. First of all, we plan to release the environmental document, which is both a CEQA and a NEPA document. On the federal side, NEPA, it's an environmental assessment. Under CEQA, it's a draft environmental impact report. We'd be releasing that for a 45-day public review period, hopefully within the next few weeks. We're waiting for FTA to sign off on that, so it's a bit unpredictable for us, but we hope to do that soon. After it's been circulated, after the communities had 45 days to review and provide comments, we'll then review comments, respond to them. The Santa Ana City Council, as the CEQA lead agency, would be responsible for approving findings and overriding considerations and adopting a mitigation and monitoring plan. Of course, to the extent that anything connects to, affects the city of Garden Grove, we'll make sure that that's done in coordination. And then at about the same time, we'd be asking the councils to select a locally preferred alternative. What that means is, out of those choices, don't build anything, go with a bus system, consider streetcar 1, streetcar 2, or a combination thereof. We have that possibility of mixing and matching the streetcar routes. A decision then locally about where we want to go in the future with the project. As soon as we've done that, we would be going to OCTA and asking them for concurrence with the local decisions. They're an important partner. They have been all along. They've provided all the funding for the study, and they'll continue to help us with funding issues, policy issues, operations guidance, many other things. At such time, when the city councils are ready to make a decision about the locally preferred alternative, the criteria that will be used, and these were established as part of these processes, you establish early on how you'll measure success or impacts. The ones that were defined early in the process were number of people that are served by the system, especially those who are transit dependent, how well it serves transit-supportive land use and provides an economic development potential benefit for our communities. Other community impacts, and this can be both impacts and benefits, we evaluate those and you make an informed decision based on the information that's available. The ease of use, which is measured by how many estimated daily boardings we have, how many times people will connect to the system, and then its costs, capital and operating, and how we can fund those. Next slide, please. So as I said, after the local agencies have made their decisions, then OCTA also has some key decisions to make. A matter of fact, a couple of those could be happening almost simultaneously with some of the local decisions. In the near future, they'll be considering for both our project and the Anaheim project a funding strategy. As I said, we're funded to date. We're actually funded even through the next phase of preliminary engineering, but to continue engineering, go into construction, we'll need additional funding. So they, as our partner and working with us to seek federal funding, will help lead some decisions on that. We'll also be talking to them about the appropriate lead agency for the next phases. It's been a city-led project so far. It may make more sense for OCTA with all the expertise they have in transit system development and delivery to take over for the next phase. And then finally, the system owner-operator. At the end of the day, who will have staff who makes this system work on a day-to-day basis. Is it one agency? Is it a couple of agencies? Do we all find a way to cooperate together? All models have been used in different areas throughout the country. All are equally good and valid. We just need to decide what's the best fit here locally. With that, I am ready to answer any questions you may have. And again, thank you for the opportunity.
You know, they started the first streetcar in Los Angeles for about $4,000, which included 2 streetcars and 4 horses.
Before my time, Mr. Mayor, but yes. This is actually, one of the interesting things about this project is Los Angeles used to be served by the Pacific Electric Railway system, the streetcar system. And this corridor, the PE right-of-way, that's what it's named for, was used for that. It used to go all the way from Los Angeles into Santa Ana, and then even further south into Central and South Orange County near the beach. We're talking about with this project bringing the future back. We love our cars. We want to have the mobility of our cars, but time is showing us that cars aren't always enough. More options are good, so we're trying to look at good old ideas and bring them back for a slightly higher price tag.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
At this time, we'll go to oral communications for the City Council and also for the successor agency at the same time. We have a card here that says SGI on it. That must be somebody.
Mayor Broadwater and council members, thank you very much for this opportunity to share about our 9th annual Earth Day celebration. As you know, members of the SGI first began the monthly cleaning of the park in April 1999, and our annual celebration of Earth Day began in 2005 at the Twin Lakes Park. Since 2007, we have held the celebration in Garden Grove Park. We are really excited to share the theme for this year, Renewing the Human Spirit. The festivities will be held on Saturday, April 20th at Garden Grove Park. We'll begin with the monthly cleaning from 9 till 10 a.m., followed by set-up and planting 4 cherry trees. We would like to give our utmost appreciation to all of you who donated 4 cherry trees for this year. The festivities will be from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Performances include a cultural array of dance, bands, chorus, and music. We'll also have education exhibits on how individuals can take action in their daily lives towards sustainable future. We have added a new exhibit this year titled Culture of Peace. We also have educational booths, including children's booth with exciting and fun stations for all ages. The police department will have a booth and will participate in the events as well.
With this year's event, we are determined to reach out and make an impact on each person who attends. SGR President Daisaku Ikeda states, by transforming our core values, by renewing the human spirit in its very depths, we can put human civilization on the path to a sustainable future. We appreciate the richness of support over the years from the Department of Public Works, as well as the support of all of you. Mayor Bruce Broadwater, Mayor Pro Tempore Dana Nguyen, Council members Steve Jones, Christopher Finn, and Chris Bird. We would like to extend an invitation for you to join us, and would like to include you on the program to share a few words. The event is free and open to all residents and friends of Garden Grove. We included the promotion postcard on your package. We hope you will join us on Saturday, April 20th from 12 p.m. To 3 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alex Mohammed.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Broadwater. Last city council meeting, I presented you guys with some studies on why extending the tow parameter by half a mile would be a potential benefit to the city. And I understand that there was a study that was provided by the staff, and unfortunately I wasn't there for comment on that. But given the information that we have now, or that I provided for you guys, and to some of you a better perspective on what you're dealing with right now, I was wondering if we could open that up, or if you guys would consider opening that up for discussion again. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stephen Lambert.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Lambert, and I'm a staff member on the Garden Grove Drug-Free Coalition. And what we are is we're a drug abuse prevention organization, and we have a federal grant from the Office of National Drug Control Policy. And for the past 5 years, we've been working to reduce alcohol and drug use among youth here in Garden Grove. So we actually pursue this mission in 3 ways. So the first way is through education. So we educate parents and community leaders on alcohol and drug prevention strategies, and we provide youth with skills and knowledge so that they can refuse drugs and alcohol. And actually our efforts have reached about 2,700 parents, youth, and community members as of now. The second way we do this is by engagement. So all sectors of the community are involved in the planning and the execution of all of our coalition activities. And our coalition actually includes Garden Grove PD, the school district, social services, faith groups, and more. And finally, we aim to reduce substance abuse through environmental change. So what that means is we support programs and policies that discourage alcohol and drug use at the community level. So this includes providing responsible beverage service trainings for bars and restaurants, supporting DUI checkpoints, and also educating the community about policies like social host ordinances. So our next meeting is actually going to be on Thursday, May 2nd at 11:30 a.m. And I've brought some flyers for your reference. And at this meeting, we're actually going to have a guest speaker come down from the Pacific Coast Recovery Center, and he's going to talk about the science of addiction and the developing adolescent brain. So you're all invited. I'd love to see you there. And we offer you our support, the coalition support, and we look forward to working together so that we can build a safer community. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have other cards there for me?
Not for,
Yes. That's for,
public,
and orals.
and open.
Charles Mitchell has a card, too.
I'm not out of cards. I'm just asking for what was there. Charles Mitchell.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and staff. If John Clark and Chief Rainey are available, I'd like them to come into the council chamber for a moment. And if former Mayor Bill Dalton would step forward.
Are you running some kind of a show here, Mr.
Well, it won't take long.
John's on vacation. No.
Well,
Former mayor, you left your red hat somewhere. I just,
Either the chief or John Clark are present this evening.
okay. All right. 40 and 8 is a special branch originally founded in 1919 as a supplement to the American Legion. Now, we have many programs that we sponsor that are for the benefit of veterans, but also for our communities, including nurses training, youth and sports, and Americanism. Every year, the organization looks for the cities that have done the most to benefit our veterans. We put in an application. We appreciate the hard work of John Clark in helping us do this for the city of Garden Grove. Now, last year, we made a presentation to the city council showing them that they had been presented with the honor of being City of the Year for California. And we presented that trophy to, at that time, our Mayor, Bill Dalton. We also were informed at that time that the City of Garden Grove had also been chosen as City of the Year for the United States for the service they've done for our servicemen, including the special recognition that Chief Rainey gave to our members of the armed forces who were on leave from the police department to serve overseas. And unfortunately, no one was available to go back east to accept the award. And consequently, it got misplaced. It went from one state to another until we finally located it and were able to bring it here and present it tonight. And this is a plaque honoring the City of Garden Grove as City of the Year for 2011. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think we need to have our picture taken. We probably have more here than Rogues Gallery, if most people know what that even is. But I just want to say something. This is great for the city of Garden Grove, but I also want to thank Charles Mitchell, because Charles really does go above and beyond to try to point out and to attract all the things that are positive to this city and its reputation. And I think you deserve a round of applause for that, Charles. Thank you very much.
thank you. John Nguyen.
Good evening. My name is John Nguyen. I live in Garden Grove almost 20 years, and then I have the two little boys. I'm here because I volunteer for Garden Grove Drug-Free Coalition. Today I would like to talking about the teenage use alcohol. As my family in Houston is we had a sad news last couple of years because my nephew he good student, but after graduate and then he had a new car. And at the party, he used alcohol. On the car, had 3 friends. After he drive on the freeway, and then he drop on the bumper, and then turn around couple row, and then all of them is pass away. On this time, I work volunteer for school district in Garden Grove. I want to have a message for the other city. Someone is this time is we need to thinking about the teenage use drug or alcohol, because I'm proudly to live in Garden Grove. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and all councilmen and all the staff in Garden Grove. Is working very hard to keep Garden Grove as safety, and at my research, is Garden Grove is one of the best city we live in around here. And then it's also is I would like to say thank you. The councilman is Chris Spear, and councilman Chris Fan is was signed up for the for the event. That is we call that event is let me see. Sorry. We have one event that is will be on April 27. That will be called a reality party for the parents. Things will act out like drinking like real. That the parent will walk around and then see what happened when the kid is drinking. And then on that time is that we will sharing the experience with the kid, and then we will learn what happened if the kids are drinking when teenage. And then again, thank you very much for your working hard. This one the first time I'm standing here to sharing with you. In my heart, I thank you again for all the city staff of Garden Grove is working hard for the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just intervene. I'd like to have staff bring back something on this alcohol being served by parent stick parties. If they're passing laws in other cities, let's get a copy of it and take a look at it and see if it fits for Garden Grove. Okay, Rod Powell.
Okay, my name is Rod Powell. Good to see you guys. Surprised me. I thought Tony would go ahead of me. Real quickly, I would appreciate it if on the documentation, when we come down to City Council for oral communications, and we speak about one topic, like I'm mostly going to do right now, if it's so documented, not just put as talking about civic. I don't know if you've instructed Ms. Baylor here takes the reports to omit stuff that's unfavorable to you. Please, I would appreciate it if it's so documented. I think it's important. I want to make a real brief public service type announcement. It's about graffiti. There's a lot of graffiti in this city, and a lot of people don't know how easy it is to call the police, 714-741-5704. Tell them that you see some graffiti. They will come right out, and they will mark it with an orange dot, and within a couple days it'll be gone. So please do that. I do that, and it works every time. The primary reason I'm here is to talk about medical marijuana dispensaries. And I'm going to read. I don't usually like reading, but I will this time. And just to set the record straight, we are not, nor have we ever been, a marijuana-friendly city. That's Bruce A. Broadwater. What is wrong, and I don't mean to offend, but I don't think there's any other way around it. What is wrong with our government leadership in Garden Grove? Medical marijuana dispensaries are banned in our city. Why are the police not enforcing this? The city council, which comprised most of the present council, allowed, I don't know why, they allowed for a registration process in 2011. The same city council then took this registration process away in January of 2012, if this article is correct, on the Garden Grove website. Garden Grove is probably the most prolific scofflaw city regarding marijuana dispensaries in Orange County, if not in the entire state of California. On any internet search engine, medical marijuana dispensaries and marijuana doctors, how do you like that, marijuana doctors, can be looked up by their location. It's so simple they make it. Any major criminal organization is abetted by weak or, in some cases, outright crooked members of law enforcement and city government. That is clearly what's happening here, more the weak part. We read in our newspapers constantly of crimes occurring at these dispensaries. robberies, burglaries, you name it. The quality of life in Garden Grove has decreased, and our Garden Grove pride has been slapped in the face by these dispensaries and the gaudy advertisements. Try observing the comings and goings at these dispensaries. See all the young, healthy, slick hustlers moving in and out of these dispensaries. Dispensaries know their customers are mostly recreational users or addicts. They know few, if any, of these customers are what the state would call compassionate use. When is the City Council going to stop lying to the citizenry? When are the City Council members and the Garden Grove Police going to start enforcing the laws of the city? We should not beat around the bush here. These marijuana dispensaries are not about doling out anything medicinal. These are big-time drug dealers, as was written about in this week's Garden Grove Journal. A man twice convicted as a drug dealer in this state is convicted on federal drug trafficking charges and tax charges. The advertising is clearly intended, the advertising these dispensaries do is clearly intended for the clientele who want to get high, not relief for any chronic ailments. Why else would most of them offer happy hour and use doper language and give their products seductive names, such as Cherry AK-47, Big Sur Hollyweed, Indoor Purple Skunk? You know, these are the types of names in New York that they give for their particular heroin brand. It's very similar. The places, these places are dope dens, lying next door to our dentist's office, our local supermarket, our once favorite restaurant. As someone who kind of knows with what I do, I'm here to tell you that 99% of these people going into these dens of iniquity are not to be trusted. Why? Because they know they're cheating the system, and they believe that we, who are not the potheads, are idiots for allowing this. I know that's the attitude that they have. We should be blunt by
Wrap it up, Rod.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll make this quick. It's only one half paragraph. By continuing to do nothing about illegal marijuana dispensaries, the Garden Grove Police, apparently at the direction of our passive City Council, are destroying the City of Garden Grove's reputation, likely negatively impacting our property values, certainly affecting the citizens' feeling of security and hope for the future of Garden Grove. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tony Flores.
Good evening, Mayor, Council staff. I'm Tony Flores. Just a quick update on the Joint Forces Training Base odor issue. It's been going on since 2009. I think we're making some headway. I wanted to give a quick thank you to Mr. Jones and Mr. Beard for accepting all the emails, making some phone calls, attending meetings. But we still have it going on out there. In fact, I just talked to Mr. Tanduck actually today and a couple days ago, but him and I had a bit of a conversation, and I just asked him, look, I said, you know, we've got some problems out there. You're not smelling compost, you're smelling something else. I said, well, we're smelling something. That's the whole point here. Tells me, well, you know, the last time we found out and we investigated, it was actually south of the 405, and it was the fields that were being fertilized. I said, well, it was being fertilized is me and my neighbors, and you're giving us some BS. I was born with a good sniffer, and I can tell the difference between compost and mulch and BS. So let me ask you a question. I said, Mr. Tanduck, is it true that if the mulch is made out of wood and it gets wet, doesn't get turned or rotated, causes bacteria, correct? He says, yes. I says, can that cause an odor? He says, yes. But you're not smelling compost. I said, I understand that. I said, but I'm smelling something. So in any case, about a week ago, we had a talk. I said, why don't you build a shed around where you guys are doing your mulching? He said, well, that's probably not a bad idea. Maybe we should check into that. I said, well, we've made that suggestion quite a few times. He says, as long as it doesn't interfere with the runway, they might consider that. So he actually called me a while ago, and I haven't had a chance to call him back yet, but maybe we're making some progress. But I did ask him to make sure that our lack of a better word, our point council members are contacted and kept abreast of what developments are happening. So hopefully he'll give you folks a call. Along those lines of odor issues. I attended a Cypress scoping meeting for their preliminary or initial EIR for a 33-acre truck stop that's going to be or possibly going in. Maybe folks have heard of this. One of the things that I found in their EIR that caught my attention was the negative impact regarding odor, traffic, and noise. Potentially, they could probably come down Catella, go south on Valley View or south on Knott, which is going to cause some problems. And I laid out the objection, or at least the concerns that we have in the west end of town, and I sent them forward to staff and to Mr. Beard. Maybe you can read it sometime. I know you're busy, but take a look at that, please. But in any case, again, with the odors, well, we'd have potential odor to the very west and then to the east, at least the folks that live between Valley View and Manly, we'd have some issues there. So please keep an eye on that. They're in the preliminary stages. I went to the council meeting last night in Cypress. They've taken quite a few, I guess what they call their public comment form. So that's building right now. Third, Lamson Avenue, finally getting some beautification out there. Over the last 20 years, we've been talking about that, and over the last 15 years with the West Garden Grove Residents Association, we've been talking about it. So it's now coming to be. Of course, there's been some phone calls asking, well, geez, are we going to be able to keep it up? Will it be nice? Will it stay nice? And will it go to heck after a few years? Well, hopefully not. And hopefully the fact that the West Garden Grove Residents Association had been bringing it up, and now that we have a council member, that side of not Mr. Beard, hopefully he had some play with it. And that brings me into my next topic, districts. I think districts is a great idea. It's a fantastic idea. I wish I had thought of it. Yes, sir.
You were opposed to districts when we tried to do a charter city and put districts in. Now you're back to it?
No, what I said was I'm opposed to charter city.
We can't do it then.
I think we can. General law allows us to it. And we don't want to be like the city of Bell. You know that. I know you might want to go there, but I don't think we want to go there.
I used to live in Bell.
I believe that. In any case, what I think we need to do is take a look at districts, and people don't fear the districts. I know Mr. Fan was commented on it, and so is Ms. Nguyen, but really, if you think about it, the idea of districts in Garden Grove I think is out there right now. Why do I say that? Well, we have the resort district on Harbor, we have the Korean Business District, and we have the Little Saigon District. It's time to put in council districts, so please consider that. Thanks for your time, folks. Thank you.
Last but not least, Josh McIntosh.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, Mayor Broadwater. Good to see you all, council members and staff. Okay, I've got a few things to start off with. First of all, in community news, I'd like to invite everybody to come out to the Garden Grove Historic Society. We're having our annual barn and book sale from May 1st through May 3rd. That's on Euclid Avenue, opposite the Ralph's parking lot. I'd like to see you guys out there picking up some used goods to support the Historical Society. We are a nonprofit, and we do depend on all donations to exist. So please come out there and support your historic Garden Grove Society. Second of all, community news. The annual Garden Grove High School all-class reunion and picnic is coming up on June the 8th. Anyone who is an Argonaut or a Chili Pepper is welcome to attend. Come on out. It's a free event. There's free parking. Lunch is provided by Zlackets. And Garden Grove's greatest disc jockey, myself, will be playing some music. No, I had to throw that out there. And now, something that means a whole lot to me. I want to say thank you to Garden Grove employee Allison Mills. Allison stepped forward a couple weeks ago when I had an issue about a needy family in Garden Grove that's living in dilapidated quarters and just really like third world conditions. And I wanted to help this woman in any way I could. I sent out letters of, requesting help for Costco, for Home Depot, and several different organizations, Habitat for Humanity. One person from the city actually said that we're only working on West Garden Grove houses, and they can't help. And that kind of hurt a little bit, but Allison Mills stepped forward, and she put me through with a church located here in Garden Grove who's sending 50 to 60 volunteers on June the 2nd to help out a fellow Garden Grove resident, and they're going to be taking care of the costs and everything. And I just think that's the most awesome thing anyone's done. So, Allison, if you're out there, thank you so much. Now, down to the public hearings and whatnot. I'm going to be leaving, so I won't stick around for the whole meeting on this tonight. I do consider the voting on all these issues here tonight just to be ceremonial. I know everybody's already got their minds made up. I'm not stopping any hotel from being made, but I do have 2 items I want to talk about. As far as parking, there's no clear information as to how many parking spots are going to be made, only that there will be parking that should be acceptable. Anything we've done so far has not been acceptable as a resident's point of view. So, goodness, I hope you guys really do the parking right this time. And then, agenda item 5B. If you go to the attachments to 5B and you scroll down page 6, we have the updated economic evaluation. And this has me worried. Based on the cost and revenue numbers provided, compared to the estimated income and development values, Horwath HTL LLC say that it's going to generate a negative residual of approximately $31.5 million, inclusive of city assistance at no cost to the developer. So the people we paid probably a lot of money to figure this hotel water park out for us are telling us, you know what, it's not really going to make that much money. This scares the crap out of me. $31.5 million negative is their prediction. That doesn't sound good. I hope we don't get stuck with a garden walk like Anaheim, a failed, big waste of people's money. I guess it's not working. I'm just worried about that. I know you're all going to vote 5 yes votes on it. Thank you for your time. Good night.
At this time, we'll take 5 minutes.
Still got it.
Yeah, it's still there. Okay, at this time, we'll go to the successor agency.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you like to call roll?
Member Broadwater?
Here.
Member Wynn?
Here.
Member Fawn?
Here.
Vice Chair Beard?
Here.
Chair Jones?
Here. We already did oral communications in conjunction with City Council, so we'll go to consent items.
Move the consent items.
Second.
Call to vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
We have no public hearings and no items for consideration. Any matters from members? None. We're adjourned back to council.
At this time, we'll reconvene the city council. Let's go to consent items.
Mr. Mayor, it's recommended that items 4A through 4E be acted on simultaneously unless a separate discussion is requested by a council member.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Let's go to public hearing, sir.
Mr. Mayor, your first public hearing is to consider to have a protest hearing regarding the spring 2013 weed abatement notices, and Sabrina Soltis is here to give a staff report.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, twice a year the Fire Department initiates the city's weed abatement program, and there are 3 steps, which include the Council's declaration of a public nuisance, a public hearing after the notice to clear lots are sent to the property owners, and a public hearing after the lots are cleared and invoices are unpaid to the property owners. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is the second step, for the public hearing to be held regarding the notices that were sent to property owners in February. It is recommended that council receive testimony from members of the public and take appropriate action. Those actions would be to uphold the objections and direct staff as to how the council would like to respond to said objections, to overrule the objections and direct staff to proceed with the weed abatement process, and if there are no objections, to direct staff to proceed with the weed abatement process. Thank you.
Any questions for staff? At this time, we'll open up the public hearing for the weed abatement. Anybody like to speak on this issue? Seeing none, at this time we will close the public hearing. What are your wish?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
It's got a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
5B.
Mr. Mayor, 5B is a public hearing to consider and approve a development agreement with Land and Design for the construction of a resort hotel at Twin Tree and Harbor Boulevard. And Greg Blodge is here to give a staff report on this item.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the purpose of this report is for the City Council to approve the resort hotel agreement between the City of Garden Grove and Land Design, Inc. Brief history on this project. The previous DDA was approved June 14th, 2011. Subsequently, the Department of Finance in Sacramento disapproved this project as an enforceable obligation. However, the city moved forward on getting the project entitled and has completed the entitlement process, which includes general plan amendment, plan unit development, and mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring program. So those are all complete. The site is located at the corner of Harbor Boulevard and Twin Tree, and within the green area you see on the map, those areas are owned by Successor agency properties, and these will be transferred to AB 1487.
There we go.
Okay, so going to the map, once again, the properties in the green boundary are owned by Successor agency, and these are being transferred through AB 1484 back to the city. The property in yellow, those properties were owned by the Neffs, were recently acquired by the city, are now city properties. And then optional property is shown in purple at the north, adjacent to the target site, and that's owned by Sunbelt. That's an option. The developer has the option of purchasing that property with their own funds. Once again, this is a 5-acre site located on Harbor Boulevard and Twin Tree Lane. So the development program includes an upper upscale hotel of 300 to 469 rooms, also conference space of up to 39,000 square feet, and restaurants within the hotel up to 20,000 square feet. And the major hotel is located kind of in the north section of the site. And this is an elevation of the actual project. And these next photos show the upper upscale amenities of the hotel, including fine dining, conference space, and highly amenitized pool with luxury full-service suite rooms. Development program also includes 2 additional hotels of 125 to 200 rooms each, and those are shown on the red circles on the site plan, which are located on the corner of Twin Tree and Harbor Boulevard. Also included in the development program are retail restaurant entertainment space of up to 45,000 square feet, and this is shown also in a red circle fronting Harbor Boulevard. And examples of the restaurants would include restaurants like BJ's, Yard House, Maggiano's, Claim Jumper, and the site's entitled for 5,000 to 65,000 square feet. So the financial assistance for this project includes, for the upper upscale, the developer will receive an amount equal to 60% TOT over a 20-year period, and on sales tax, 50% sales tax over 20 years. And also on the additional hotels, an equivalent amount of 50% TOT over a 10-year period and 50% sales tax over a 10-year period. On the retail dining and entertainment, developer will receive an equivalent of 50% sales tax over 20 years. The city had its consultant, Horwath Hospitality, LLC, look at the economics of the project. Horwath concluded that the project generates approximately negative $31.5 million negative residual land value, and this is inclusive of the city's assistance in the form of conveyance of the site at no cost to the developer. The benefits to the city, it's estimated that the project will generate between $3.9 and $4.9 million in new tax revenue to the city per year. These are gross numbers. And then the project is also projected to generate approximately 750 to 1,025 construction and permanent jobs. The proposed development schedule, if approved, would be a 12-month period to actually start construction, and then a construction period of 24 to 26 months.
So at this time, staff recommends the City Council take the following actions: conduct a public hearing, adopt the attached resolution approving the agreement, and then authorize the city manager to execute the agreement, including any minor modifications as appropriate, and any other pertinent documents necessary to effectuate or implement the DDA or the agreement. This concludes my report.
Ladies and gentlemen, any questions for the staff?
Just one, Mayor. Can you please expound in layman's term about the negative 31 million? Perhaps other folks like me don't quite understand exactly what that means.
One of the processes in determining whether any city assistance or previously redevelopment agency assistance is usually done by evaluating the cost of the project to build the project versus any anticipated income. In this case, room rates for room income for the developer. And then that's measured against what would be an appropriate price to pay for the land. With regards to constructing new full-service, or in this case, an upper upscale hotel, the cost to build such a hotel versus the amount of room income that the owner will get ends up with a negative land value, meaning in most instances that would be a no-build result. And what it does is it does justify or indicate the need for additional assistance to make the project profitable. In this case, it demonstrates that the project does need financial assistance to make it profitable for the developer. From the city's perspective or the previous redevelopment agency perspective, assisting in this project financially still produces a net gain to the city. So although it does require financial assistance to make the project profitable for the developer, due to the large amount of hotel tax in particular, it also becomes very profitable or beneficial for the city. But the so-called land residual is a measurement as to whether or not the project is deemed profitable by itself, or in this case with a negative number, that's the indicator that it needs financial assistance.
And when they set this negative number, is there a time limit that they're setting, or is it just an indefinite
It is
number?
a present value. It's a number today that, absent of any other factors, the developer would need to have $31 million infused into the project today to make it a profitable based on other investment options that someone might have.
Thanks, Matt.
Question? In the plan, I didn't hear it, parking. We had one public speaker tonight ask about parking. Is it ruled to be a parking structure, correct?
Right. Those particular details, not that they're not included in this transaction, but they were also addressed when it went to the Planning Commission and to the City Council approving the zoning entitlements. And I believe it calls for, is it almost 1,000 or 1,200 spaces?
1,000 plus spaces.
Yeah, over 1,000 parking spaces within a parking structure.
Okay.
And that meets the city's code for this size of project.
So, related to the revenues it'll create, the TOT is 3.5 to 4.3. Basically, it comes down to about $4 to $5 million a year for the city.
Correct. In
And this
total
is
tax
basically
revenue.
a 20-year project, so we're looking at 80 to 100 million over the course of this project.
Well, that's the gross number, so then you share that with the developer, so say about half of that, so 2 to 2.5 million
Okay.
for 20 years, and then after starting the 21st year, 100% will be
Back to the
retained by the city.
Okay, thank you.
You know, a lot of people misunderstand how that actually works, and it works in a lot of different ways. Most people could not tell you who is the largest sales tax company in the city of Garden Grove. Who pays the most, who earns the most sales tax so we can collect it in the city of Garden Grove? And I bet we could, not keeping away from staff, but the rest of us out here, if we asked the questions, none of you would hit on it. But it is a company called Boise Cascade. Boise Cascade in West Garden Grove come to us and said, we want you to tell us what kind of benefit you're going to give us to come to Garden Grove. And we split the sales tax down for 7.5 years with them. Split it right in the middle. They got half of it back. The minute they did that, they were the largest sales tax collector in the city, and we were only getting half of it. And the same thing for us. Today we get 100% of that portion, but they've cut other deals. When they bought, what was it the company they bought? Office Max. We cut another deal with them. Brought it to Garden Grove. City of Buena Park was right in line. The City of Monterey Park. Both of them were in competition with us. Both of them would not go as far as we did, and we gained it on both instances. Anyway, let's go further here. Anybody have other questions? Hearing none, at this time we will open up the public hearing. Tony Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Boise Cascade's been there for a while, but that's all we've been hearing about. I do have some concerns about this particular project or this particular item. That being the $17.6 million that we're going to be, according to the staff report, that we're going to be coughing up for the next 20 years, ends up being $888,000 a year in assistance payments, not to mention the negative $31 million that was just talked about. And of course, taking into account the certificate of participation that we took out back in April of 2002, we're still paying on that. We're paying $1.5 million a year right now until the year 2032. When we get done with that, it'll be over $45.7 million that we're going to be paying. That's quite a bit. We just raised the hotel visitors tax in the last election, and according to the website, Garden Grove website, it was going to be used. How will the revenue from this measure be used? Help to offset the city's structural budget deficit and help preserve general city services such as police, fire protection, street operations, maintenance, parks, and recreation services. It looks like some of this is going to be taken away, that we just voted on it, but it looks like it's going to be shifted on to helping pay for this particular project. When we look at the total, at least the numbers that I've done, and I ain't going as deep, but I think the numbers I'm probably off and in the wrong way. I'm giving you folks some credit here. With the hotel visitors tax, if we subtract that $888,000 from the $17.6 million in assistance, then we're going to be making $620,000 off the occupancy tax or the hotel visitors tax. So I think we need to take a harder look at what we're doing and how we're putting our dollars together, but we're getting farther and farther out. Not to mention, as Mr. Fertel pointed out, the basis for the projections, which are the hotel rooms themselves. Nowadays, if you go on to Priceline or cheaphotels.com, it's not going to be anywhere near what you see on the advertisements for the hotels themselves. We're also paying money to the Garden Grove Tourism Improvement District, so we've got all kinds of money going in different directions, but what's really coming to us? And of course, to get behind something like that, and when you guys mentioned the claim jumper, I started having some doubts. Maybe I didn't want to come and talk. I'm a rib guy, and they got some great ribs. But in any case, be that as it may, the benefits to the citizens. What's the benefits to the citizens? You know, our sewer fees, trash fees, assessments, charges and rates keep going up and up and up. When are we going to start seeing some of the benefits from this? When is it going to start paying off? So we do have some questions, not to mention the next item, which is 7B later on down the line, but we're looking at, according to these numbers or this report, it's $42 million we're going to be putting up over there. So when do we actually start seeing the benefits as citizens? And that's the question, that's a concern. As it stands right now, of course, I'm not in favor, but I'm the only one here, it looks like. But I just wanted to raise the issue. Thanks for your time.
Earl Garolino.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the Garden Grove City Council. My name is Errol Giuliano. I currently serve as the chairman of the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce. And I'm here to show support for this hotel site C. And that's the Chamber's direction. The proposed project would create and add both short and long-term jobs for the community. The proposed project presents a valuable opportunity to get people back to work by offering a variety of new hotel jobs, restaurant and retail positions, and not forgotten various construction jobs as well. Garden Grove continues to feel the impact from a high state unemployment rate with limited options at all levels of government to get our economy back on track due to tightening of all budgets. We view this project as a private-public partnership between the private development and our city, which will assist in getting people back to work in a timely manner. This proposed project is an example of how private-public partnerships can work and show what is in the best interest of our business community and the residents of Garden Grove. Furthermore, the proposed project maintains the Grove District, formerly known as International West, vision by continuing to expand our resort destination area. And even more importantly, the proposed project provides long-term tax revenues for the city, which in turn uses these extra revenues to enhance the quality of life by Garden Grove residents and businesses. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, this is a win-win for both Garden Grove business community and its residents. I urge your support for this project and move forward the agenda item. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Matthew Reed.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Matthew Reed, President of Land and Design. Do I still need to give the address, or I haven't heard any of it. 4330 Palm Avenue, La Mesa, California. So it's 2 years in the making. Actually, it's been longer than that since I think we first met. And I think it was back in closer to 2009 when we were first talking about developing a hotel in this corridor of your resort district. And I'm beyond thrilled to see it where we've been in the last year and a half with the abolishment of the redevelopment agencies and your long-term vision for what you had planned a long time ago for this land, and the way that we've been able to collaborate with staff and the city to get a project that truly is going to work. I'm not at liberty to say what hotels, what flags, or what restaurants we're negotiating with, but I will tell you that we are. But it's too early to say at this point. So we're very excited about it. And if you really look at this project, the stars have aligned here. We finally have the land assembled with the hard work of the staff. The entitlements are done, and the market's right, or at least the signs are beginning to say that it's the right time to do this. So as Land and Design, we remain committed to a couple of things that we told you back when you approved our DDA in June in 2008, and that was that we would establish a Garden Grove First program where we would hire local contractors first before we went out to the general public on bidding, and that we would build a green hotel, and we remain committed to doing that. So I would appreciate your support tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on this issue? Hearing none, at this time we'll close the public hearing. There was a question asked by Mr. Flores, when are the citizens going to start receiving something? Well, they've been receiving from the hotels we've built somewhere between $12 and $13 million for the last few years. If you add that up, it doesn't take long to add up to the point where it's way beyond anything we put into it, and it will keep generating it for, well, you can't say forever, but certainly for a long, long time. This hotel, when will we first, and this hotel we're talking about tonight, when we first get any monies for the general fund will be the time when the first person checks in, and we hope that's soon.
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
Matt, what is the estimated cost for this project to build it?
The total project is around $180 million.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
Move approval.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received 4 yes votes with Mayor.
No, I didn't mean to do that. Let's do that again.
That's fine.
That was just a test.
It made me pause. Motion received 5 yes votes.
Okay, let's go on to items for consideration.
Mr. Mayor, 7A is an ordinance amending our administrative citation, appeal, and fine payment timelines, and Captain Todd Elgin is here to give a staff report on this item.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm here tonight to request we amend the city's administrative citation ordinance to extend the time of appeal, apply for a hardship waiver, and to pay an administrative fine. This request was a result of a study session with City Council back in January. At this session, suggestions were made that the committee look at making it easier and more affordable for citation recipients to comply. Issues discussed at this meeting were extending the time to file an appeal, modifying the advance deposit of fine required when an appeal is requested, extending the time to pay the administrative fine, improving access to information to include multiple language translations of the administrative fine process, and look into the discretion issue with regard to officers assessing fines based on the severity of the violation and whether the violation was a first or second offense. As a result, the staff reviewed the suggestions from the study session and has prepared a proposed ordinance which would extend the time to appeal an admin site from 15 to 30 days, extend the time to pay an administrative site from 30 days to 45 days. For those who are unable to deposit the administrative fine in advance of the appeals process, the current municipal code allows a recipient to apply for an advance deposit hardship waiver. The only change with the waiver would be that the recipient now has 30 days as opposed to 15 days to apply for that waiver. No changes were recommended with regard to the current fine schedule, as it is determined that the Muni Code already provides for a tiered fine structure, and enforcement officers do have discretion to assign a lower fine for those issues deemed to be infractions. It also allows enforcement officers to assign maximum fines for more serious violations. And with that being said, the recipient always has the right to appeal if they believe the fine amount is disproportionate to the violation. Lastly, in order to improve the process and information available, the back of the citation will now include a city internet link that will provide citation information in Spanish, Korean, and Vietnamese. This will also include the information sheet that is given to recipients as a result of the citation. There are no financial impacts with regard to the city, and at this time, it is the staff recommendation that the City Council introduce and conduct the first reading of the attached ordinance, extending the time to appeal an administrative citation, apply for an advance deposit hardship waiver, and pay an administrative fine. For the record, the title of this ordinance is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove amending Title I, Chapter 22 of the Garden Grove Municipal Code relating to administrative citations and making certain related findings. That's the end of my report, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for staff? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second, I'll second it.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Let's go to 7B.
Mr. Mayor, 7B, although it looks a little nondescript, is actually a very important step in moving forward with the Water Park Hotel project. It's been mentioned a few times this evening that redevelopment as we once knew it no longer exists. This certainly created a lot of uncertainty, not only with other projects, but in particularly the Water Park Hotel. And for the last 18 months, the developer, their team, their financing folks, city staff have been wrestling with various options on how to navigate through the Department of Finance and whether they would actually deem the Water Park Hotel an approved enforceable obligation. With that uncertainty brought some concern from the financing sources of the Water Park Hotel, whether or not the Department of Finance would allow the agency to fulfill its obligations, which is in the opening of the hotel, was to provide $42 million into the project, most likely via a tax allocation bond. Although we have received a final and conclusive determination from the Department of Finance that this project is indeed an enforceable obligation, the actions of the Department of Finance still gives at least some folks a reason to pause. and has inhibited the developer from moving forward with all of its financing pieces. As a result, all parties have been working diligently to develop a financing mechanism that will result in $42 million being available today instead of at the opening. And we are pleased to present to you that such a financing mechanism exists, and Greg Blodgett is here to briefly walk through that.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, the purpose of this report is to request that the City Council adopt the attached resolution supporting the financing concept for the Water Park Hotel and direct staff to implement the disposition development agreement and to implement the financing provisions as generally set forth in the term sheet as attachment 2. It is the intention of the successor agency to sell tax allocation bonds to fulfill its obligation under the DDA. The developer has determined that the $42 million required to be paid by the DDA is needed earlier than the time set forth in the DDA. The developer has proposed to assign its rights under Section 4A of the DDA to receive the $42 million from the successor agency to the JPA. The JPA will issue bond anticipation notes. The developer has agreed to cover interest carry on the bond anticipation notes, also known as bands. And then at the opening of the hotel, agency will issue tax allocation bonds to pay off the bond anticipation notes. So staff recommends tonight to approve the attached resolution of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove in support of a financing concept for the water park hotel. That concludes my report.
Any questions for staff?
Mr. Mayor, if there are, we have the developer here, and I think it'd be important if he also addressed the council as to the significance of this item before the council this evening. If that's
Mr. McQuinney, why don't you please come up?
Mayor Broadwater and members of the council, Chad McQuinney, and with me is Trey Rigby. And I just want to echo what Matt and Greg had to say, that we've been working on this project a long time. We have a long history here in the city, still own a number of hotels that we developed back in the 98, 99 timeframe. Very excited about this opportunity. The cancellation of redevelopment created a lot of uncertainty for both the city and us, but we stuck in there together, are very happy to get the final and conclusive. But this is new waters for all of us, because how redevelopment is going to be done going forward, we're probably going to be one of the first projects in the state that are, moving through these waters. So with me tonight is Trey Rigby. He's actually overseeing this project for us, and I think you've got a couple comments that you wanted to make as well.
Sure. Yeah. Good to see everybody tonight. This is a very exciting night I think for our group and hopefully for the city as well. Not a whole lot to say different than what Mr. Fertel and Chad have said. Just to echo the fact that we appreciate the city's vision and commitment to this project. It took more than 18 months from the day that the governor came down with the initial legislation to eliminate redevelopment until we got the final and conclusive. And as you know, that created a lot of uncertainty for us and for our lenders. And today's an exciting day because we think with the work of our group and city staff, we do have a plan that solves around a lot of issues. As Matt said, our lenders are requiring this assistance to come in up front, which is different than the disposition development agreement specifies. But we have a group that's put together a term sheet that's an attachment, which solves for the upfront funding, still works within the confines of the DDA that we signed, and gets the project underway. And we think that this plan does that, and we look forward to your support to approve that so we can get this project going this year. So that's it, unless there's any other questions.
If this item goes forward tonight, then what does it look like in terms of time frame for what happens next?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that still have to be done. It's not. That's a great question. I want to be clear that it's not as if this is approved and we're under construction tomorrow. There's a lot of things that have been kind of put on pause while we were sorting through the financing and these various issues. and all the team is still in place. The rest of our capital is still in place, our contractor, our design team, but they've all been waiting for some mechanism to finance this 42. So with this approval, we can release all of these, the design team and others, to kickstart drawings. There's some activities I think that will have to happen from the city's perspective to form the JPA that will issue these bonds, and some other, to draft the bond documents. So tonight's kind of the request for the direction to move forward with this financing plan. We'll be back in front of you with bond documents, JPA formation, and other things. All of that I think can work concurrently for a fall or year-end groundbreaking.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Mr. Baird.
Just a couple items. One of our speakers commented on Lamson. It's coming along nicely. I think June is still I've heard June is the completion date. Looking forward to that. It's really shaping up. Related to the social host comments tonight and the reality party set for parents on April 27th, as mentioned, I'll be attending, and so will Councilman Fawn. I would like to propose that we have some sort of workshop related to this. You mentioned looking at some ordinances from other cities. Is that doable or possible for the social host ordinance, or is that? Okay, I'm open for either, but I'd like to review it and discuss it, if we could agendize it or in some form or fashion.
Be fine by me.
Thank you. I want to comment, it's been out for a little bit, but the city has a new website. It's very user-friendly, and I encourage people to go to it if you haven't, and it's well done, and it covers a lot of what we do as a city, most common questions, most current events, and so I encourage everybody to look at that from time to time. And one comment on the medical marijuana, I think maybe the city attorney could answer this very quickly. There's there's a Supreme Court decision we're sort of waiting on to hear for some direction as to where the laws may end up, or the interpretation of the laws on marijuana, medical marijuana. Is that correct?
That is correct. In early February, there was oral argument before the Supreme Court on a case that came out of the city of Riverside, in which the Court of Appeal upheld the right of a city to ban medical marijuana dispensaries. That case, along with several other cases, were taken up by the California Supreme Court, and the lead case being the Riverside case was argued, and we would expect that within 90 days from that oral argument, there would be a decision by the Supreme Court which tells us whether cities' bans on medical marijuana dispensaries will be upheld, and hopefully provides additional guidance beyond that.
Yeah, but we're behind the scenes as a city, we're staff, I know, is looking into how we implement whatever the court decision is that's coming out. So one of the public speakers tonight commented like we're doing nothing. Well, that's not true. We are looking ahead and waiting for this court decision to get some direction, and we are making plans to enact some program or some work in that direction. So I want to make that publicly known. And with that, that's all the comments I have. Thank you.
Councilman Fan.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
So I'll just give a shout out to Councilman Beard. Last March 30th, we had a great event over at Atlantis Park. We went out there and helped the Rotary, and some of the students from Bolsa Grande was there as well too to help spruce up the park. Our next community event for that park is going to be on April the 20th at 7:30 in the morning. So if anyone can come out and help us, that'd be wonderful. Also, another plug for the Women's Division for the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce. On the 21st of April, we were going to have a Silver Spoon event over at the MC Suites. It's an annual event that they host over there. It's a great event for the Chamber, so I invite the community to come out and support. And lastly, I want to just send a shout out to my dad, who's here all the way from Indiana. So hi, Dad. Thanks for coming out, and look forward to seeing you in a little bit.
Steve.
I have nothing.
Nothing. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went to the art contest I don't know if it's a contest or not, I guess it is, for the school board put on, and it was really well done. They used the courtyard to do it in, and I mean, there were literally hundreds of pictures on display, hundreds. And they gave out all kinds of awards to the different classes, all the way from one end to the other of the school district, and it was great. It turned out to me, and the courtyard was not a facility good enough to do it in, because it was packed. I mean, for every child that was there, you had 2 or 3 parents, or you had all kinds of people there and watching it. So I've asked them if they could see if they could work their way into the community meeting center for next year. It would be a lot better for them, and they have the ability to actually use the same equipment they had over there to display the art. We're taking a look at some of the pictures they did there. The one with the cat and the mustache is the mayor's award, and all those pictures were taken and photographed and then emailed to me, and you can see that some of the awards they got were great. I sort of like that chicken that has got a ring on, and he looks like he's in charge of all the chicken houses in California, but they did a great job, and that was just a small amount of the pictures they had there. There were hundreds of them, and the awards were hundreds. It's beautiful artwork. So anyway, I hope next year that when it happens, we can announce it being there so everybody can go and take a look at it. And with that, I think we will close the. Oh, sorry.
One request.
One question. Go ahead.
One request. Could staff put on the agenda, or maybe in one of our closed session, the discussion of all the cases that's pending for the marijuana dispensaries? I think we haven't had an update for a while, so that probably be very useful for us.
If the council would like, I would be happy to provide an update. I can either provide it in writing to you, or if you wanted a presentation at a council session or whatever, we could do that.
Put the one on there where we kept the marijuana for the fellow.
Can we have a council meeting on that? Because it's probably...
We did this a few months right before it went to the Supreme Court, so I'm not sure if anything's different. So we may be just restating what was presented. Once it went to the Supreme Court, they took the testimony, I think, in February, and now we're just waiting for a decision. So not a whole lot has happened, even with our own dispensaries in the city.
Were we aware of the federal, what was printed in the journal?
The plea in federal court by Mr. Walker, yes, I know that Chief Rainey had been aware of it. I had been aware of it, that there was a plea by a gentleman who had operated a number of dispensaries, not only in Garden Grove, but elsewhere, Dana Point and elsewhere. And apparently it was a very substantial operation, and I believe he pled guilty to tax evasion and a violation of the federal marijuana laws, resulting in forfeiture of a very, very substantial amount of assets that he had acquired through the marijuana operations. I mean, millions and millions of dollars.
It's just, considering that these pot houses, or whatever you want to call them, are supposed to be non-profit, it certainly, the guy made over millions and millions and millions of dollars off of it. And Rodney is right about the young people that are going in and out of these places. It's just sickening, and it really would be nice if we could do something about it. So it's something that a lot of people bring up to you, and it's a shame that we have so many of them. I thought we could at least ticket them for having illegal signs, but I don't see anything on that going on either. I mean, it was certainly brought up and discussed, and I don't see where staff has done anything in that area. So, anyway.
But we'll re-look at what was presented, and if there's updates, well, we'll present it anyway. But I just don't think anything's changed.
Just look it over and see what we haven't discussed, and then decide whether we need a discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I forgot something. May I bring something up?
Okay.
One of our public
Just this one
speakers.
time.
Okay, for tonight. One of our speakers brought up the towing situation. I had some more questions. I have additional information. I went and saw some of our towing companies. I'd like to, is it possible to revise or bring this item back for discussion?
I actually, to second what you said there, Councilman Beard, I had a tour of some of the sites there, too. I don't know about the protocol and stuff like that. I think it's probably something we can do with staff later, but
Yeah.
I would certainly like to at least talk more about that.
Okay, can we do that with staff? At least discuss some of the additional information I have, and then the RFP process itself and additional information?
You mean bring it back for a study session again?
Well, or bring it back to the council to discuss openly.
Well, I was going to talk to, how soon I forget his name, he was here a minute ago.
Captain Elgin?
Yes, and I was going to talk to him this week, and if one of you would like to join me in a discussion with him, we'll go over it, and if you feel it needs to be brought back to the council, you can always do that.
Okay, you'll be discussing it with him?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to join you then.
Okay. Well, pending the discussion, then we can get direction to either schedule another study session or not.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay.
I have a question. The RFP didn't go out yet, right? So there's time for the council to kind of
Right,
relook at this?
It's being drafted and looked at through our purchasing department, but it has not been distributed yet.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's it. No more items.
Well, thank you, everybody, and we will close until 2 weeks from tonight, which would be 23rd of April.